No, let's do them all.
Yeah.
Let's do them all. We got the library.
Yeah, on the back side. Included with the, under county responsibility are what we call the special funds. And these special funds include these areas. They're these, I'm losing my, here's, the battery must have died. I need more budget money to in the battery. These special funds include the Class B funds. Those are tax dollars received off the gas tax. When you go buy gas at the gas station, the state collects a portion of tax that's reapportioned out to the cities and counties. We get liquor distribution from the state, health department, which comes under the special fund under the county. Our 911 fund comes from the state. We have a jail commissary fund, which we maintain out in the jail. We have an economic development fund, which funds the economic development board. Tourism is, these two meet together. We have the housing authority, the library fund, which is here. Then we have our debt service funds, the bond on the park and rec, bond on the rec center. We have a group of county bonds that were combined to include the courts, building, and so forth. Then we have the fire station event center bond, which covered a portion of the Jordanelle Fire District, or fire station, and the event center. Then in capital projects, these are projects such as the fairgrounds. These are separate funds out of the general tax fund. These are monies we've collected from various places such as developers and so forth to build these facilities. That includes the fairgrounds and the rec center and the library senior center. And you can see that we're zeroing out the library. We're done with those funds in the library. Then our service funds down here. These are funds that I implemented a few years ago. For instance, on the auto fleet purchase, I know Dan Matthews mentioned how they purchase vehicles. We do a running year-by-year amount we charge each department, and then as their vehicle hits that mileage portion, we trade that vehicle in on a new vehicle. And we already have the money budgeted in the fleet purchase fund. It used to be years ago, if we needed, for instance, in the sheriff's department where we have a lot of vehicles, if we needed those vehicles, we'd get hit with a $300,000 increase for 1 year to buy vehicles, and then 4 years later we'd get hit with another $300,000 increase. And so to take out the dips, we've done that on these different funds. This is for the computer systems in the county, software and computer systems, the maintenance and fleet purchases, and our radios and communications for our emergency services teams. And so that's what those funds cover. So all of these funds, and I don't know what questions you have. I know the health department's here on theirs, and Kristen's here on the library to cover their funds, and the rest of them I kind of watch over.
Will you explain the increase in the economic development fund today? Where we get an increase?
Oh, what's the increase in the economic development fund?
We're going to have to pick up that debt service. And so that's for years of debt service.
Okay, that where we get is we've been receiving monies. We pay our bond payments from Red Ledges for the last several years, and that money's now gone. So we're budgeting on getting that money, and we'll disperse it through that fund. So we're looking to get...
So that's the restaurant tax, the transfer tax.
That comes from restaurant transfer. And that money will come from that fund because we have to budget that money now from a different source than from the Red Ledges. So that's why it's showing an increase.
So, because I think tourism, economic, health,
no, see, their
budget is exactly the same as prior year.
Right, but we threw this into that fund. Sorry if I didn't explain that to you earlier.
Well, I think we talked about that. We figured that was a use for TRT funds, justified
We'll be glad to use all the funds you want to give us.
Well, what I didn't explain is we were putting on reserve.
Right, yeah, I knew we were gonna have
We were
to
going to do that amount.
make up the payment, but I didn't know it was gonna show up there.
Right. Any other questions from the council?
Okay.
You're on these, on the special ones you're talking about?
Well, I can answer the questions on most of these, yes. Or else I'll ask the department head to answer.
Just one comment to the council, I don't remember when they presented their preliminary budget a week or two ago, I think it was the 20th of November. There was a question on the transportation and the cost of conferences, wasn't it?
Yes.
On the health fund?
Yeah, and so they, if you look at your itemized budget for that department, they went back and looked at that. Our incoming director, Mr. Probst, visited with each of the departments and talked about what needs, what conferences, and they decreased that by, how much was it, by? $7,000. So that's, I think the only change in the health from our preliminary is that,
That number up there is correct on the new.
I would assume-
It should be correct,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it's reduced by 7,000 from
from
what
what
it
it
was
was
earlier.
earlier. So, want to be aware of that, they reevaluated that one.
I want to add that the clerk auditor's department has done all of this work. I may talk with the department heads and work through numbers, but the clerk auditor's department has done all this and kept it straight, and they do a really, really good job doing that. So.
Okay, let's have, any other from the council? Let's have public comment if there's any on these special funds. We do have the directors here from these, Central Stevens here, White and Cindy's here, Kristen's here, so we can ask them questions if anyone from the public has any questions on that, as far as clarification. Okay, seeing none. Yes, please, Aaron.
Just the liquor distribution, that was down 30%, how was that?
That's based on what we received from the state. That
Well,
comes
you need
off.
to drink more. I'm trying. I can only fall down so many times.
A portion of the tax on liquor sales comes back to the counties for enforcement of liquor laws.
Okay,
And that's just whatever we received in the disperse.
so we're not getting as much for enforcement.
We get about the same. What happens is the year goes from July through June. And sometimes we spend more in one year, and sometimes the other year. And so it goes back and forth a little bit.
It'll show it as a lower amount here.
And all that has to be used for the enforcement of alcohol as well. A portion of it can be used for confinement, one way or another, but everything has to be spent as per the state for certain items.
The
We
sheriff has
carry
to-
some of this money over as well, year to year.
The sheriff has to file a report and explain how he spends that money each year. It has to show where it was spent.
Back to the state.
Back to the state.
More drinking, you're right.
Absolutely.
Other questions from the public? Okay, we'll close this section then of the public comment period. Mike, let's go to the 2013 amendment.